Hello everyone, welcome back to Senior Health Essentials, your go-to channel for practical, science-backed tips to help us all live longer, feel stronger, and stay sharp to our golden years. Have you ever made a decision you thought was right, only to realize, too late, that it changed your life in ways you never expected? Have you ever wondered what it really feels like to give up your independence? To have someone else decide when you eat, when you sleep, and even when you can take a walk outside? Or maybe you're asking yourself this: is a nursing home the safest place for me or my loved one? Or could it become a place where I slowly lose the very things that make life worth living? I'm sharing this today not to scare you, but because at 82 years old, I've learned some of the hardest lessons of my life, and I wish someone had told me these things before it was too late. You see, when I first decided to move into a nursing home, it seemed like the right choice. My family encouraged it, promising that I'd have all the care and comfort I needed. I trusted them, and honestly, I believed I was making a smart, responsible decision for my future. But the reality was nothing like what I had imagined. I thought I'd be safer, more comfortable, even happier. Instead, what I found was a life where my freedom was taken from me, piece by piece. It wasn't just about the small room or the scheduled meal times. It was the deep, sinking realization that I had lost control over my own life. Before I moved in, I could decide when I wanted to wake up, what I wanted to eat, when I wanted to go outside for a walk, or just sit quietly in my favorite chair with a book. I had routines, little joys, the freedom to make choices that felt like mine. But in the nursing home, everything ran on someone else's schedule. Breakfast was served at a set time, whether I was hungry or not. Lights out happened at a certain hour, even if I wasn't ready for bed. If I wanted to take a walk, I had to wait until someone was available to help me. Sometimes I'd wait for hours. Even simple things, like what I wore that day or what book I read, started feeling like privileges instead of basic rights. I'll never forget the moment I realized this wasn't my home anymore. It was my first week there. I woke up in a bed that didn't feel like mine. I reached for the book I'd been reading at home, but it wasn't there. My favorite chair, my little comforts, gone. In their place were sterile walls, a bed I didn't choose, and a sinking feeling that I couldn't shake. I was no longer the one making the decisions about my life. And let me tell you, once you give up your independence, getting it back is almost impossible. You adapt because you have to. You stop asking if you can take a walk. You stop arguing when they tell you what's for dinner. And slowly, almost without realizing it, you start losing yourself. So if you're watching this video right now, whether you're considering a nursing home for yourself or for someone you love, please hear me when I say this. Before you take that step, think carefully about what you're giving up. Because once it's gone, you'll miss it more than you ever thought possible. Today, I'm going to share 6 things I wish someone had told me before I made the decision to move into a nursing home. Some of these might surprise you, and they're not just small inconveniences. They're life-altering changes that can shape your entire experience. So stay with me until the end, because what you hear today might be exactly what you need to help you, or someone you care about, make the best decision for the future. Let's get started. Let's talk about the first regret, and it's a big one: losing your independence. Now, I know what you might be thinking. It's just a change of environment, right? I'll still be me. I'll still have my choices. That's what I thought too. But the reality? It hits you harder than you'd expect. Imagine waking up in the morning, except you don't decide when. Your day starts when someone else says it's time. Breakfast is at a set hour, even if you're not hungry. The menu? You don't get to choose. Want to go for a walk? You have to wait until someone's available to help you. And sometimes, that wait feels endless. The small freedoms you once took for granted, choosing when to sleep, what to eat, when to take a quiet moment outside, they all become privileges, not rights. Your personal belongings, they don't all fit in a small room. The books you loved, your favorite chair, that little plant you nurtured for years, gone. I'll never forget the first time I woke up in that new bed. I reached out for my book, the one I had been reading for weeks. But it wasn't there. The room looked unfamiliar, the walls too plain, the bed not quite right. It hit me. I wasn't in my home anymore. I wasn't in control anymore. And here's the hardest part. Once you give up your independence, it's almost impossible to get it back. You adjust because you have to. You stop asking questions, stop making requests. You start fitting into someone else's system. And in the process, you start to lose yourself. So before you take that step, ask yourself, are you truly ready to let go of the small freedoms that make life feel like yours? Because once they're gone, you'll miss them more than you ever thought possible. Let's move to the second regret, feeling forgotten. This one, it sneaks up on you. When I first moved in, my family promised they'd visit often. And at first, they did. My daughter comes every week, and my grandkids on the weekends. It felt like I was still connected to my old life. But slowly, life outside the nursing home moved on, and I stayed behind. The visits became phone calls. The phone calls became text messages. And then, sometimes, silence. Holidays were the hardest. They promised they'd come, but plans always seemed to change. I'd sit there, waiting by the window, watching other residents stare at the door, hoping today would be the day someone remembered them. It wasn't that my family stopped loving me. They were just busy. Life goes on, right? But the longer you're in a nursing home, the easier it is for people to assume you're fine, that you're adjusting, that you don't need as much attention. But let me tell you, you do. I remember holding my phone one night, debating whether to call my son. I didn't want to be a burden, didn't want to sound needy. So I put the phone down and sat in the quiet waiting. That's the kind of loneliness no one warned you about. And no matter how much your family loves you, once you're out of sight, it's easier than you think to become out of mind. Now, let's talk about regret number 3. Losing your sense of purpose. Before I moved into the nursing home, I had routines. I watered my plants, made my own coffee, tidied up my space. I had hobbies, projects, little things that gave me a reason to get up every morning. It wasn't always exciting, but it was mine. Then I moved in, and those small rituals disappeared. Meals were prepared for me. The cleaning was done by someone else. The plants, well, they weren't mine anymore. At first, I told myself it would be nice to relax. No chores, no responsibilities, just rest. But after a few weeks, the days started to stretch out, long and empty. I watched it happen to others too. I'll never forget George. He was 84, a carpenter his whole life. Always building, fixing things, making little projects in his garage. But here, there were no tools, no projects, nothing to create. His hands, once so strong and skilled, sat idle in his lap. One day, he looked at me and said, "I feel useless." And I knew exactly what he meant. Because when you lose your purpose, when there's nothing left to care for, nothing left to build or create, you start to feel like you're just existing, not living. And that, my friends, is a slow and painful decline. So before you make a decision, ask yourself, what gives your life meaning? Because once you step into a nursing home, finding purpose isn't as simple as filling your time. It's a fight to hold on to the things that make you feel alive. And trust me, it's a fight worth fighting. Let's move on to 2 regrets that no one really talks about, but they hit you hard once you're inside a nursing home. These are the things that slowly creep up on you, and by the time you realize it, it feels like it's too late. I'm talking about your health and your dignity. Let's start with regret number 4. Declining health faster than expected. Before I moved into the nursing home, I thought I was doing pretty well for my age. Sure, I wasn't running marathons, but I could take care of myself. I'd cook my own meals, go for walks, even stretch a little in the mornings to keep my legs strong. Those small routines, they mattered more than I knew. But when I moved in, things started to change. Quickly. At first, it felt like a relief. I didn't have to cook, I didn't have to clean, I could just press a button and someone would come help. It seemed so convenient, so easy. But here's the truth no one told me. The less you do for yourself, the faster you lose the ability to do it at all. I saw it happen to others, and I lived it myself. My neighbor Alice, 81 years old, came in walking tall, confident, taking daily laps around the facility. She told me, "I'm not going to slow down just because I'm here." But over the months, I watched her walks become shorter, until she started using a walker. And then, one day, she was in a wheelchair. One afternoon, she looked at me with tears in her eyes and said, "I don't know when it happened, but I feel like I've aged 10 years in just a few months." And let me tell you, she wasn't exaggerating. When you stop moving, your muscles weaken. Your balance fades. Getting up from a chair feels harder. And once that decline starts, it snowballs. You lose your strength, your confidence, and worst of all, your independence. So here's my hard-earned advice. Don't stop moving. Even if it's just a short walk around your room, stretching your arms, lifting light weights, do something. Because once you stop, getting back up isn't as easy as you think. Now, let's talk about regret #5, the loss of privacy and dignity. This one hurts in ways you don't expect. At home, I had my space. My room, my chair, my bed, my sanctuary. I could close the door, sit in peace, decide when I wanted to shower or eat. But in a nursing home, privacy becomes a luxury. From the moment you move in, people are coming in and out of your room, staff doing checks, nurses with medications, someone knocking. But sometimes not waiting for an answer before they enter. Even basic tasks, things you've done on your own your entire life, suddenly require assistance. Bathing, getting dressed, using the restroom. You press a button and wait, and sometimes you wait longer than you'd like. And then there's the issue of sharing a room. Not everyone gets a private space. Some have roommates who are loud, unclean, or dealing with cognitive challenges that make sleep nearly impossible. I was lucky. My roommate was kind. But others, not so much. No matter how hard you try to make your room feel like home, it never truly is. Your choices shrink. Your voice softens. You stop being you, and start feeling like just another patient on the list. And the hardest part? Dignity. It's something you don't realize you're losing until it's gone. When you have to ask permission to shower, when you're spoken to like a case file instead of a person, when you're told what to do and when to do it, you feel it. So if you're considering a nursing home, I urge you to ask yourself, are you prepared to give up the privacy and control you've had your entire life? Because once it's gone, it's not easy to get back. These aren't small losses. They chip away at who you are. And that's why I'm sharing this with you today, not to scare you, but to make sure you go into this decision with your eyes wide open. Stay with me, because in the next section, I'll share one more regret, and it's a big one. The moment you realize that leaving isn't as easy as you thought. Now let's talk about something that might surprise you. Something I wish I had understood before I ever stepped through the doors of a nursing home. Leaving is much harder than you think. You see, when I first moved in, I told myself, this is temporary. I'll give it a try, see how it goes. If I don't like it, I can always leave and go back home. It felt like I had a choice, like I was in control. But here's the truth no one really tells you. Once you're in, it's not that simple to get out. Let's start with the practical stuff, your home. You might think your house will be waiting for you, just as you left it. But in reality, things change fast. Your family may mean well, but they'll start making decisions. They'll sell furniture you loved, give away items they think you no longer need, or even consider renting out your house to help with the bills. And one day, you might realize your home is no longer your home. That's exactly what happened to me. I thought I had the option to return. But when I brought it up, my kids hesitated. Are you sure you can manage on your own, Dad? Wouldn't it be safer for you to stay here, where you have care around the clock? We just want what's best for you. And I get it, they were worried. But the problem is, after months of living in a place where you don't cook your own meals, don't clean your own space, don't even walk much on your own, your body changes. Your strength fades faster than you'd think. Your confidence takes a hit. The routines that used to keep you independent, they're gone. And suddenly, the idea of moving back home, cooking your meals, handling your medications, managing the little challenges of daily life, it feels overwhelming. It's not just about the body either. It's about the mind. When you stop doing things for yourself, you start doubting your abilities. You start to believe what people tell you. It's safer here. You need help. And that fear of falling, fear of failing, fear of being a burden, keeps you stuck. I've met so many people who thought they'd try the nursing home for a while, only to realize they'd crossed a line they couldn't easily step back from. Some even lost the option entirely. Their homes were sold. Their savings were drained by the high costs of care. And without a home or the financial means to leave, the nursing home wasn't just where they lived, it became their entire world. And let me tell you, that's a heavy realization. So if you're considering a nursing home, whether for yourself or for someone you love, please take a moment to ask the hard questions. Will you still have a home to go back to? Will your family support your choice to leave, or will they encourage you to stay because it's easier? Are you ready for the physical and emotional toll that comes from losing daily routines, independence, and strength? Because leaving isn't just a matter of packing a bag and walking out the door. It's a process. And for many, it's a process that becomes harder the longer you wait. The key takeaway here? Plan carefully. Don't assume you can leave whenever you want. Don't assume you'll have the strength or resources later on. Make sure you've considered all the options, home care services, family support, other alternatives, before you make a move that might feel permanent. And remember, once you go in, getting out might not be as easy as you think. Stay with me because in the next part, I'll share some final reflections, important questions to ask yourself before making a decision, and the one thing I wish I had done differently. So let me leave you with this. Not all nursing homes are bad, but the truth is, moving into one is a decision that should never be taken lightly. If I could go back and do it again, I would have fought harder to stay in my own home. I would have looked for other ways, home care, family support, community services, before giving up my freedom so quickly. So I want to ask you, is a nursing home truly what's best for you, or is it just the easiest option right now? Are you ready to give up your routines, your independence, your choices? The very things that make life feel like it's yours? I hope today's video gave you something to think about. If it did, I'd love to hear from you. Drop a comment below and share one thing you learned or how you'll apply it in your own life. And if you haven't yet, hit that subscribe button, turn on the notification bell, and give this video a like and a share. Your support helps us keep creating videos that inform, inspire, and hopefully help you make the best choices for your future. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.